It's Louise, the Big Hair Bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you are well. Hope you are having a lovely day. Brit in Wonderland, I am thinking of you particularly. But however, I am going to dedicate this video to Sylvia. That's Sylvia with a W, but I'm going to pronounce it Sylvia because that's how I would pronounce it. Sylvia, grab yourself a cup of tea. I actually have some homemade shortbread in the kitchen, so you are welcome to go and have a look in the tin and get yourself some homemade shortbread. And then come sit down. I've got my tea already. And we can sit and we can have a chat. We can talk about the books that we've read recently and finish off our June, really. I haven't been around for the last couple of weeks. Nothing kind of major's happened. It's just been really busy. I had a fantastic weekend where I spent it with some of my closest people in my life, my circle, my tribe, my just fantastic group of people that I get to spend time with on a regular basis. And it just shatters me and thrills me, and it was wonderful. It was a wonderful weekend, and one of my chums actually stayed here because where she was going to stay, it was going to really affect her hay fever, so she came and stayed with us. But we haven't quite got the house sorted, so she ended up staying in the lounge on our sofa bed. So she still was on a bed, but she was in our lounge. But we had those kind of mornings where it was just the two of us in the house, and neither of us were dressed. We were both with bed hair and just pulled something on over our nighties, or were just in our nighties, and just sat with tea and toast, and it was lovely. And it reminded me of those times when I was young, and I used to do that, and you know, after a night's clubbing, used to sit around and drink tea and eat toast and put the world to rights, and actually you're so much more able to be vulnerable because you're not dressed. You're not dressed, you haven't done your hair, and it was lovely, and it really reminded me of it. So it was wonderful to spend time with those people. I also did my second fire walk. Yay me and yay to everybody else that did it, and for those that took part in the whole thing. To the two fire guardians that were there, you were amazing, and it was a wonderful experience, so thank you very much for that. Nothing to do with books, but it's just part of my life at the moment, and it was glorious, so thank you for everybody that was there and took part in that. Had some other stuff going on with my mum's house. My mum's house is going to go in the next week or two, hopefully, but we actually had to finally clear everything out, and it was wretched. I think is the only way I can put it. You know, you keep having moments, don't you, where you're doing really well, you think you're doing fine, and you're dealing with the emotions as they come up, and then something like that, and it just takes the ground from under you. So if anybody else is going through this, and I know that there are people that are going through this or something similar, I am with you in those moments, because they do take the ground from under you. You feel like you're getting things together, and you feel like you look back a couple of months and you say, oh, I'm not the hollow creature that I was then, but something can just take everything out of you, knock the stuffing out of you. So I've had a couple of days where things have been hard, and so I have retreated into my book. Sylvia, you know that you would be with me and supporting me in that, so for that I'm very grateful of. So Sylvia, I'm not going to go through all the books that I've read in June. I finished 11 books in June, which was good. Considering how much I actually had on, I was quite impressed by that. How did you do? Are you in a reading mood? I've seen quite a few people say, I'm not in a reading mood at the moment. I am in a reading mood, which is amazing, considering that Wimbledon's on. I just, you know, I am going to dedicate 2 weeks of my life watching that. If I'm not watching it, I'm listening to it on the radio. If I'm not listening to it on the radio, I'm thinking about it. And also the Tour de France. 2 big sporting occasions. This is something you might not know about me, but big major sporting events, that's it, I get hooked. I dedicate myself to them, and I have the capacity to sit and watch for hours, much to my son's horror. But as a kind of sweetener, we are having our tea on our laps in front of the television, so I get to eat my Wimbledon, which he really likes, because it's not so formal, is it? And you can eat a bit differently, and your mum might not notice that you picked up that chip and was just eating it with your fingers. So there are pluses and minuses. Anyway, Sylvia, stop your chatting. You're making me go off on a tangent. But I as I say, I finished. I either listened to a couple of books on audio. The others I read. I did pick up and put down other books as well along the way that I just am not counting, because I didn't read enough of them to say that yes, I did actually finish. But the ones that I have read, I finished, let's have a look, see which order I read them in. So I had just finished Heartless by Gail, which was the 4th in the series. I then picked up the Watchmaker of Filigree Street by Natasha Pulley. I finished this. I finished it really, really quickly. I enjoyed it. I went into it having heard quite a few people say, "Oh, I was really into it. I was really looking forward to it," and I didn't get on with it. So, but one of my chums who did read it on her Kindle. She loved it, so she kind of balanced out the other ones. And I have to say, it's a beautiful book, and I did really enjoy it. It wasn't quite what I expected. And it had, so that was good. I don't know what I expected almost. I guess I expected more of a kind of a wholesome read. And actually, it's kind of dark in patches. I'm not convinced. She didn't totally pull it off. It could have been bleaker, and I think it would have been better. But it showed fantastic ideas, and I wanted more. In some ways, I wanted more of the fantastic ideas, or it to be darker. But I did enjoy it. Also, the end, I was a little bit disappointed by, and I have heard a few people say that, but I can't tell you why, because if I told you that, then it kind of gives it away. But I was a little bit disappointed by the end. But I still recommend it, actually. And having now read it, I can recommend it a bit more fully and say, if you've got it, I do think it's worth picking it up. You will get something out of it, and it will intrigue you, and there will be, and I would love for people to read it and go, no, actually I did really like it, and I agree. I thought the ending was good, that was good. Bix, but good. Then I read The Graces by Laure Eve. Again, another quick read. It's a YA book. I didn't fully understand that it was a YA book, so it's got quite big print for those young eyes. Not that YA is so many adults read YA, don't they? I think this would be better for a younger reader rather than myself, and I can see myself passing it on to younger nieces. In fact, I can think of one off the top of my head who I reckon would really enjoy this, and it would be a good one for her to read. I'm not that keen on stories about school, kind of 17, 18-year-olds or 15, 16-year-olds school times. It does have kind of witchiness, and again, it is a little bit darker than I thought. And as somebody said, whose name I can't remember, said to me it was a bit more subtle. Actually, it was more subtle than people make out. I agree with that. There were some good subtleties. Mysterious, beautiful and unnerving. Not sure I'll go that far, but I do think it is more subtle than people are suggesting. And I think that my biggest problem with this book was I'm not the target audience. And therefore I do caution you to take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt, because I'm not the target audience. And I think if I was younger, I would rave about this more. I can understand if I was 15, 16, 17, 18, I would think it's marvellous, but I'm not, and I'm glad I'm not. Let's be honest. I have way more fun as a grown-up than I did when I was 16, 17. I read this, A Different Class of Murder, The Story of Lord Lucan by Laura Thompson. I also listened to, so this was a true crime book, and funnily enough, I was reading this and I was listening to another true crime book, I've got it written down here, called Written in Blood by Diane Fanning. So this is about the Lord Lucan mystery. Written in Blood is about the murder of Kathleen Peterson and subsequent trial in that case, and I would like to do a video on just talking about these two, because not only did I read this, but I listened to a podcast about it and I watched something on television about it. And the Written in Blood, I've watched things and I've listened to things, and I've got there's quite a lot of stuff about that I could point you in the direction for, of if you wanted to. So I don't know, are you into true crime? Tell me, are you into true crime? But if you are, you know how people got obsessed with Serial? I was one of them. The podcast Serial, I was one of those. I'm now obsessed with a new podcast called Beyond Reasonable Doubt, and that is about the Kathleen Peterson murder, which is why I read that book, Written in Blood. So I listened to that book. So anyway, I'm getting myself all in a tizzy. Anyway, I would like to do a video just talking about the two of them, and so I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to leave anything I say about this till then, but I did read this, and yeah. So there was that. So I finished that, and then the last book that I finished for the month, I finished on a high. I read Timeless by Gail Carragher. It's the 5th and the final in the Parasol Protectorate. It's a novel of vampires, werewolves, and Egyptian thingamybobs. So taken as a series, it starts with Soulless, and we have Changeless, Blameless, Heartless, and Timeless. This is the final one. I can't go into the plot about this. It's steampunk, Victoriana, it's vampires, werewolves, and Egyptian thingamybobs. As a series, stunning. Absolutely loved. It's the first time I've ever read steampunk and really understand why people get so into it. I just thought it was fabulous. I really loved it. As you know, if you've been watching my channel, which of course you have. This one I didn't. It wrapped up too well for me, and I think that was my big problem. It wrapped up too well, wrapped up too quickly. My word, did it wrap up too quickly. So I think it was a bit of a dip. The Soulless, Changeless, and Heartless, that's 1, 2, and 4 in the series, were just phenomenal. I felt that 3 and 5 were a bit of a dip, but taking them all as a series of books and as a series of characters, just brilliant. I'm so glad I've read them. So I should probably move on to her next set, which I don't know what they're called. You will have to tell me what they're called, but I have seen them about and I've seen other people reading them, so at some point I will get to them. However, I have got so many other books that I want to read that I will get to them eventually. Now, that's it. So that's all I read for June. So I'm not going to show you a big stack. I'll just show you these. These 4. These were my final 4. So it's a good variety. Nothing there that I would say. I mean, that was probably out of the 4. That was probably my favourite. But none of them were bad. They were all good, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. So what I'm going to do is I have got lots and lots of books, which you can't see, but they're over there. So, well, actually, Sylvia can see because she sat there having her cup of tea and her shortbread. The rest of you can't see, but Sylvia can. So I've got quite a lot of books there that I have found. I've been on a couple of wanders down high streets where there are charity bookshops. And I'm a master on a wander. But I did also pick up this book, and I've been dying to open it. And I don't know whether you've seen it. So if you're, I've seen them in supermarkets and in some bookshops. They've got these books, which are blind date with a book, which is, as we know, a thing, isn't it? Blind date with a book. How long am I going on? I should be quick. So this is blind date with a book, and as you can see, and it's don't judge a book by its cover. Well, we all do. And they had them, and there was a big long set of them, and I just thought, do you know, I really fancy that. And I had a look, and it's a kleptomaniac, cunning heroine, suspense thriller, England. So my worry about all these things is, have I already got it? But I thought I'll give it a go. My other worry is it's got a Ladybird sticker, and I always think of Ladybird books as for younger readers. So I'm wondering whether is it for younger readers or YA or whatever, and it's not actually adult. But it doesn't say that. Anyway, so let's open it, because I never do this. I always, you know, if I get anything in the post, other people wait with their stuff, and I can't do that. I can't do that. I enjoy it far too much, and now I'm regretting not having a knife, and now I see why other people prepare. Hey! There we go. So, I'll pause this for one moment. Kleptomaniac, cunning heroine, suspense thriller, England. Got any ideas? Are you all shouting at the at your devices or your computer? Oh my word, they've stuck that down well. Don't want us to get into it. How cheeky! Oh, it's Oh, look at that. It's Pan Macmillan, publisher, so they're obviously doing it. So it's obviously a Pan Macmillan. This is an adult book, and this is the book that inspired the Hitchcock classic, Marine, the novel by Winston Graham. This is going to be fabulous. A crime novel of considerable suspense and great distinction. Oh, there's a fly just buzzes me. No, it's not Marine, it's Marnie. I'm having one of those days. Marnie appears to be charming and efficient, a true professional, but inwardly she is unscrupulous. A rebel against society and the law. When she starts working for a small family firm, two of the partners vie for her attentions, I say. And as Mark Rutland, the younger partner, forces his way into Marnie's world, well, I hope he doesn't force too badly, he becomes desperate to understand her. Why is she so cynical, so uncaring? Why is she a thief and a liar? Who is the real Marnie? Mark sets a trap, but is not only Marnie who is caught. Oh, that sounds brilliant. Oh, well, I shall look forward to that. And I shall, oh my good Lord. That was the author of Pole Dog. Well, there we go. Never read it. That's a different book. There we go. How exciting. Not Marine. Marnie. Were you all going Marnie? Did anybody guess Marnie? No. If you did, I'm very impressed. It sounds really good, doesn't it? Sounds like something I'll enjoy. I did well. I might have another look. And maybe next month treat myself to another blind date with a book. So there we go. But Chib, there we go. Sylvia, lovely to chat to you. Hope you are well. Hope you're okay. And I look forward to sitting down with you again. Bye.